When was the last time you bought a computer with a CD ROM drive? Do you even know what a CD ROM drive is? Are they still relevant? In my opinion, for most people, they're dead. Don't get me wrong, there are still uses for CD ROM drives, but mine of you has no idea what they are. I'm going to quote one of my favorite James Bond movies. Being dead does not mean one cannot still be helpful. There are still applications where they are useful, and virtualization is one of them. KVM, Oracle's VirtualBox, and UTM for Mac OS are all virtualization platforms that utilize a virtual CD-ROM to mount an ISO image. Why? Because it's one of the easiest ways to mount an ISO to a virtual machine. That's why everybody does it. You know, I went back and forth. Should I make this video? Should I not make this video? Is it still relevant? And you know what? Yeah. If the only way to get that initial boot is to mount an ISO image to a virtual CD-ROM drive, then yes, they're still very, very relevant. So we need to, that's something that we need to cover to make sure that you understand how to add these, how to take them away, and all that kind of stuff. Well, this is B from Tay Talk Tech, and today I'm going to be covering adding and removing CD-ROMs and ISO images from in regards to Linux virtualization. So stick with me. Now, before I get into that content, I've got a favor to ask. If you like this type of video and want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell button for notifications. Also, don't forget to give the video a like if you like it, give it a dislike if you don't like it. Lastly, let me know what you like, didn't like, or have any questions, comments, concerns down in the comments below. So let's go ahead and switch over to my desktop. I want to go ahead and show you a couple of images here. So here's an image from Oracle's VirtualBox, and we can see here in the settings for storage, we've got this little CD or donut looking thing that indicates that it's a CD-ROM drive. And in this particular CD-ROM drive, we have the Kubuntu 22.04 desktop ISO. You can't see all of it, but that's what's mounted there. So we can see it being done there. The next image I want to show you is from KVM. We've got it right here. We can see that the device is a CD-ROM, and then we can also see the source file, which is the actual file that is mounted to that CD-ROM drive. And then lastly, here's UTM from Mac OS. Here we go, we can see CD, DVD, and we've got Ubuntu 22.04 live server AMD 64.iso. All right, so let's go ahead and actually get into doing the actual fun stuff. All right, so let's get to our command line here. All right, so let me make sure that my VM is off first. List. Yep, and it is off. So most of these commands that we're going to go over today, you're going to either want the VM in an off state, or you'll need to power it down and then power it back on again. And keep in mind, powering it down and then powering it on again is not the same as rebooting. So you need to make sure that if you do apply these when the machine is running, you need to power it completely down and then power it completely back on again. So let's go ahead and do a sudo virsh dom block list Ubuntu server test, and we can see here we've got just the main drive here. All right, now one of the things that I also want to show you is sudo virsh dom block list Fedora daily. Right here, and we can see this. This is one that I haven't made any configuration changes to. It's still pretty much in the same state as after I installed the operating system. And we can see here it's got its main drive, but it's also got this other target. And you've probably noticed that on some of the other VMs, and that's because it's automatically mounting a CD-ROM drive and then mounting that ISO to that CD-ROM drive when you're doing the install. So that's what that is. Just in case you're wondering, because I realized that one day and I was like, oh, that's what that is. Okay, well that makes sense. All right, perfect. So this one actually already has a CD-ROM drive. This one does not. I actually removed it from this one just for the purposes of our video today because I wanted to be able to go and work through everything with you. So let's go ahead and clear this out. We're going to do the first command, sudo virtu-xml, and we're going to do Ubuntu server test. Then we're going to do tac add device, and then we're going to do tac disk, and then we're going to do device, and then we're going to do equals CD-ROM. All right, so basically what we're saying here with this command is we're saying, hey, go ahead and add a device, a CD-ROM drive, to Ubuntu server test. So let's go ahead and hit enter. Perfect, and it was defined successfully. Let's go back up here and do our DOM block list again, and sure enough, we've got that right here. And we can see here that it is there, but it's got nothing mounted to it. Now, one of the drawbacks to this output is it doesn't tell you which what types of drives are mounted. So you'll actually have to go to the configuration file for that. And that's exactly what we saw over here. What I can do here is I'll just do a sudo virsh dump XML, and we're going to do Ubuntu server test. What we're going to do is we're going to pipe that to less, and basically what this command is doing is we're saying, hey, the output of Ubuntu of this command, go ahead and send it to the less application, and less application is going to allow us to view it in kind of a pages format where it'll be a little bit easier to digest. It's very similar to the way that the man pages handle the information that they present. So let's go ahead and enter. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a /, which is going to allow us to search, and we're going to do CD ROM. And there we go. We've got it right there. There's our CD ROM drive. Cool stuff, right? And now to exit the less application, we're going to hit Q. That's going to take us out. So we've got that there. Now, the next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go ahead and actually add an ISO image to this CD ROM drive. Now, for this one, we're going to actually make sure it's on. For that, we're going to do first start Ubuntu server test. Let's get it started. Now let's go ahead and just start doing the command while that's booting up. For this one, we're going to return to our friend virsh, and we're going to do virsh, and it's going to be attach. We're going to do disk. And then we're going to go ahead and do Ubuntu server tac test. All right, and then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to specify the ISO location. So we're going to do var tac lib libvirt ISO. And then we're going to do, let's do the Ubuntu one. Ubuntu ISO, and then we're going to need to do a target for it. So we're going to do SDA, which is our first drive there, SDA. And then we're going to go ahead and do tac type, which is CD ROM. And then we're going to do tac mode, which is going to be read only. Now, this location for these ISOs that you're seeing me use, this is not a directory. This is not one that's in this directory by default. It's something that you have to add. I like to separate those out. You can put them in the images folder, images directory, but I prefer to have them as something separate, just so it's a little bit better organized and all that kind of stuff. And so basically, what this command is saying, it's saying, hey, I need you to go ahead and add this right here, this file right here, to SDA. I need it to be mounted read-only, and it's going to be mounted to a CD-ROM. So please do that. That's what sudo is asking. So let's go ahead and hit enter. Perfect. And the disk was now attached successfully. Whoops, that's not what we wanted. Let's go back. We can see there, it has been successfully mounted. Cool, right? Now let's go ahead and combine those two actions together. So what we're going to do is let me clear this out. We're going to do sudo virt XML, and then we're going to do Ubuntu server tac test, and we're going to do tac add device. Oh, I'm sorry, no. Oh, I'm sorry, hold on one second here. We're going to do, we're going to add device. Sorry, I lost my place in my notes. Device, and then we're going to do tac disk, and then we're going to do var libvirt ISO, and then we're going to do peppermint, and then we're going to do comma, and we're going to do device equals CD-ROM. All right, perfect. So what this command is basically doing is doing the same as if we were adding the CD-ROM drive, but what we're doing here is we're saying additionally, like saying, hey, when you mount the CD-ROM drive, go ahead and add this ISO image to it. And this comma right here, you're going to put it afterwards, but you're not going to put a space between that comma and device. So make sure you don't do that. No. And you want to know what? You know what I got to do? I got to shut down. Well, you know what? It's actually not going to make a difference here. I'm actually going to show you something here. You're going to see me do this, and you're going to see me add it right back. Perfect. See, it says that it's been defined successfully, but changes will take effect after this domain is fully powered off. So let me show you something here. Sudo virsh reboot Ubuntu server tac test. All right, it's being rebooted. So let's go ahead and do our DOM block list, and we can still see that we only have one mounted. So what we need to do is we need to go ahead and do a sudo virsh power off. No, not power off. Shut down. Ubuntu server test. All right, perfect. Now let's go ahead and go back, and there we go. And for whatever reason, when I run that command, it always pops out the mounted image from the first one. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add that one back here real quick. Sudo virsh attach disk Ubuntu server test. We're going to do var lib virt iso Ubuntu. And we're going to do SDA, and then we're going to do tac type. We're going to do CD ROM, and then we're going to go ahead and do, oh, you know what we need to do is we need to power it back on. That's fine, we're already here. So CD ROM mode, and then read only. Sudo virsh start Ubuntu server test. All right, perfect. There we go. Let's go ahead and go back and rerun this command. There we go. We're going to go ahead and come back to DOM block list, and we can now see that everybody is mounted the way that we want it to. So awesome sauce. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and either remove or replace an ISO image. So let's go ahead and sudo virsh shut down Ubuntu server test. All right, perfect. We got it. We're going to shut it down because for these, we're going to go back to our rule with either they need to be off or they need to be powered off and then back on again. So what we're going to do is we're going to do virsh dump xml Ubuntu server test. We're going to do less again, and let's go ahead and do / CD ROM, and we can see them both right here. And I think it may have taken out the CD ROM drive again. All right, so what we're gonna do here is we're going to go and do, it's already powered off in, let's just run a DOM block list again. Yeah, see, it took it out for whatever reason. So we're just gonna pretend that it's still there because it's going to, well, yeah, because we can mount it other ways, but I don't want to get into that in this particular video. So we're just going to pretend that it's there, and we're going to still issue the command because the command is going to be very, very similar for doing it both ways. And you know what? Actually, let's just do this. What we're going to do is we're going to flip it around. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to replace and then remove. So we've got it turned off. Let's do sudo virt xml. Then we're going to do Ubuntu server test. And then we're going to come over here. We're going to do tac edit. Then we're going to do target equals SDB. And then we're going to go disk. And then we're going to do path. And we're going to do equals. We're going to do var libvirt ISO. And then we're going to do Ubuntu server ISO. Perfect. Let's go sudo, let's just go back and do the block list again. There we go. We can see that now it's gone from being peppermint ISO to being Ubuntu server.iso. So cool stuff, right? Now let's go ahead and remove it. We're actually going to do the same exact command, but the only difference is we're going to get rid of this. We're going to just go down to path and perfect, defined successfully. So let's go ahead and pull up our DOM block list again and boom. Yeah, see, we can see it right there. Now, the last thing that I want to go ahead and cover is removing a CD-ROM drive, which is very similar to what we've already done. So we're going to do sudo virt xml Ubuntu server tac test, and then we're going to do tac remove device. Do tac disk. We're going to do target equals SDA, and basically what we're saying is we're saying, hey, go ahead and remove a drive. But the one that we want to get rid of is SDA. So let's go ahead and do that. Perfect. And we're going to do the same thing with B. And let's go back to our DOM block list command. And boom, they're all gone. All gone. All right, so perfect. Yeah, that covers adding and removing CD-ROM drives and ISO images in Linux Virtualization. So make sure to check out my other videos in the Linux Virtualization playlist. If you have already checked those out, make sure you go check out this other video from my channel. Lastly, thank you very much for watching my video and have the greatest of days.